Bitcoin is in free fall right now, and I think we've got some really good indications of where we could be falling down to. And the key idea on this YouTube channel over the last few videos, which you're going to know if you've been subscribed, is that I think we're probably looking at a situation where the market could be dropping down, and that's pretty much because we had this deviation pattern. I'm just going to blow my camera up here because I've got a fucking cool setup behind me too. Guys, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of pissed off that every single other YouTuber and their nan has started saying this as well in the last couple of hours. It's making me a lot less confident about what I wanted to say, and that's actually a key part of this video because I'm going to have to kind of readjust everything I'm thinking now because every shit-munching YouTuber is talking about the same thing. Retail is going to start jumping on this as well. Right now, we don't really have that. One of the key things I was talking about is, long and short ratio, extremely bearish in my opinion. We've got 61% long in this market right now, which means 1.6 longs for every short position on Binance Retail. And actually, it's the reason that I entered a short position as well. I'm going to profit on that right now. The details of that were shared inside of VIP, I think about a day ago. Which is absolutely phenomenal because that's a very nice gain to be in right now. But I have been expecting the market to drop down to levels like 21,400, and you're going to know a lot about that again if you've been watching this channel lately because this is a key price level. This is actually a price level that we saw some key retracements at, right, where we got some really big rejections at levels like this, really big support hits as well, and it really kind of set the market off into particular directions. So I think it makes a lot of sense that the market can fall down here. To be honest, even though this somewhat bearish sentiment that I've been discussing in my last few videos for the short term specifically is starting to catch on with a lot more people, I'm not that worried about it anyway because this is still not that far away. The price is still pretty close to actually reaching these kind of price targets in terms of the downside. And even though we've got that, there isn't actually anything that can kind of stop Bitcoin from falling down anyway. That's what makes ranges like this so interesting to trade. And I've been outlining this to you guys for quite a while, talking about how, if we lose key price areas like this, we've got nice 4% drops down here, or even much more than that, like 14% drops if we drop down into this key support range right here. These are all really cool opportunities to take advantage of in the market. And I want to give a shout out to those of you that have already taken advantage of this with the OKX rewards that are available to you. You are getting up to $30,000 in rewards with OKX just by signing up using my link in the description down below. And this is way easier to get than other exchanges because you get it just for signing up. You get a 10K mystery box with OKX just for signing up to 10K. And if you deposit another $50, that's it, just $50, you get up to 10K again with a mystery box, which is absolutely phenomenal. And this is one of the best exchanges to be trading on in this market right now. It is a very reliable exchange that's been around for a very long time, since 2017. They offer derivatives and basically everything that other exchanges offer, but they've also stood the test of time, which is what I think makes them very valuable. So go ahead and check them out if you want to be ripping trades in this market right now. This is obviously one of the key places to be. Bybit, also a very important exchange that I love to use, so both well worth checking out. But if we bring it back onto the YouTube video right here, I do think that we've got this area of support that could potentially see Bitcoin rising up a little bit more if we kind of fall into it. And the reason I'm saying that is because, yeah, we have had a lot of these reversals. Now, there are some problems with what I'm talking about. The first one, actually, I don't know if we still have it, is the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. Yeah, we've actually fallen out of it. So this is very bearish in my opinion. We used it once over here and barely over here, but we haven't actually made great use of this Ichimoku cloud in my opinion, and it is now closing up to turn into resistance as well. So in terms of potentially looking at a downtrend in the short term, it certainly looks like that could be on the cards right now. And I think what's important to keep in mind is that this is actually one of the classic things that we've seen Bitcoin produce, right? Is, here's another great example is we had our highs right here. We deviated above it. This was a very obvious deviation. What we had recently wasn't obvious, but here's the thing, right? And this is actually a really important thing to keep in mind with how these markets function. I'm sorry for the lag, by the way. I don't know what's happening. Is that, when things like this become a little bit more obvious, you're going to have people starting to notice them. And I've been talking about this for a while because obviously I've noticed that the market has produced a lot of these deviations lately, but I'm not the only one that's noticing them. And so what's happening is that these deviations, because other people are picking up on them too, because they're just more obvious now, they if they're being produced, they're becoming a little bit more short-lived. Like they're happening faster. That's actually one of the key ways that you can see that these markets evolve. Everyone's like, if you have a good strategy, then everyone else can have a good strategy and then nothing will work anymore. And that's not really how how it works. Like everything is cyclical. What works at one point might not work later on, and it all changes based on these self-fulfilling prophecies. It's very interesting game theory about these markets. Some of you will be quite interested in that, and if you are, pat yourself on the back or something, because I think that's a very important thing to be curious about. If you're not kind of curious about stuff like that, then maybe you fall into the camp of people that just want to make money and don't really care, which is fine. But the curiosity will get you further, and so we do have this Ichimoku cloud now, failing to give us support. However, we do have support on the daily time frame with our EMA ribbon. We're actually right in it at the moment. And the thing about this EMA ribbon is it stretches all the way down to 20,780, which is certainly an important, kind of range overall, because it started up here at 22.5. I think that this could turn into a nice area of support for Bitcoin. And that's the thing, is we're starting to get some confluence here, right? We've also got the 200-day EMA, this thick blue line right here. This has also been historically important for the market. If we take a look at some of our key interactions with this level, we had nearly managed to get a rejection right here. On this occasion, we did get a rejection, but you can't see it because of these lines. Here, if I zoom in a little bit closer, you can actually see that our candles hit this area of resistance and then got sent back down. On this occasion, we managed to bounce off it. Again, over here, a couple more rejections right here, more or less a rejection here as well, small deviation above. But we are seeing very, very clear signs right here, ladies and gents, that the market is responding to the 200-day EMA powerfully. At the same time, it coincides with our EMA ribbon on the daily. At the same time, it corresponds with this support level with our horizontal box. That is a really compelling picture, in my opinion, right? As far as support levels can go, that is very interesting, and especially if we kind of fall down to this range and we see things like the fear and greed index drop, which is still a little bit too high for my liking, right? I've been talking about this for a long time. It's one of the key reasons that I was saying I'm expecting a drop down. I was saying this way before it became fashionable in the last few hours on YouTube. And the reason for that was because of simple signs like this. I was very, very clear that while I don't like expressing these opinions that, the market probably looks like it needs to drop down, that doesn't change the realities. And that's exactly what you're getting on this channel. If you appreciate that kind of thing, do me a favor and smash up the likes, double check that you're subscribed, tick the bell, and all that good stuff as well. Because this is something that's been able to save me from losing money in this market and actually put me in a position to gain as well, which those of you that are in VIP are going to see how I managed to pull that off. So you can just join by following these steps on screen. And again, I want to give a shout out to OKX, because with this $30,000 in rewards you can get by pausing the video, signing up takes you less than 30 seconds, then coming back, you can get some really, really cool opportunities in this market where you can trade these moves. So I think that's a huge, huge opportunity. I know many of you guys have traded this move on OKX as well. So shout out to those of you that are taking advantage of these great offers, because they are only running for a limited time. But moving back to the market here, that I think paints a very compelling image. Like I said, if we start to see the fear and greed index dropping at the same time as the long and short ratio evening out a little bit more, then that to me would be a key indicator that actually this would be a deep enough correction. Because what I still think that we're in is a situation where the market is only going to correct down, perhaps to here, perhaps lower, but only going to correct down before continuing to rally up. And that has been my long-standing opinion. I've also mentioned to you that, bottom line, I thought it was more likely that we break down, but that we could end up continuing the downtrend as well. And to me, that's actually going to depend on how bearish do people get, right? If we get into this range and people get very bearish and we start seeing that the long and short ratio completely flips and more people are bearish than bullish, and people are really, really betting that the market might drop, if people start getting very scared, if the sentiment that you see on Twitter is just very fearful, there's a lot of doubt and anxiety and so on, then obviously I'm going to start to reposition myself and be like, all right, look, no matter where the market is, I generally don't want to be standing in a fucking circle, everyone holding hands, agreeing on the same things, being cringeworthy as fuck on Twitter, and just kind of agreeing with the 90%, because you always hear it on this YouTube channel. If you find that you're agreeing with most people that you generally speak to about in these markets, that you speak about these markets with, then you're probably going to be on the losing side of this. And if you've been around for any time frame longer than, like, I don't know, 2-3 months, you will know that as a fact by now as well. So I am going to be studying the sentiment as we get down to these levels. Now, I don't think that we're going to get enough of a reset down at these levels. I think that the fear and greed index is still a little bit too high. I think that the long and short ratio is a little bit too skewed in this direction. This is in the last 24 hours. Obviously the dump only happened in like the last hour to 4 hours. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, so still majority shorts coming in. I'm sorry, majority longs coming in. This is hopeful behavior, right? Even on the 4-hour time frame. Look, 1.44 longs for every short position. This is the behavior of people in the markets who are, you know, hopeful that the price might rise up. And, you know, that's something else that I want to discuss with you, because like I said, we do get a lot of deviations. Is it possible that what we are in right now is a deviation as well? This is such a perfect circle that I'm not going to delete it. This is like one of those circles that you see drawn in a cartoon, guys. Can we just take a second to appreciate my circle? It looks a little bit shitty when we zoom in. Actually, let's stay zoomed out. There we go. Look at that. Can we just appreciate my circle, guys? Can I get a... Can I get like a... Can you just comment circle in all caps if you appreciate that circle? I want to see how many of you, you know, actually give a fuck about my circle. It's fine if you don't. Anyway, you know, we could, I think, very well be looking at a deviation as well. That would obviously make a lot of sense because the market loves to produce this. So that would be one of these situations where we kind of, you know, fall down here, but then we just kind of recover back up and we re-enter basically a sideways trading range, which would look something a little bit like this. You know, and then actually, let me just show you with the bars pattern tool, because we've obviously done stuff like this many times before, you know, where we end up kind of, you know, producing some sort of price action like this, right? Very much like this. Look at that. So, you know, if this is the kind of thing that the market, you know, and then we do something a little bit like this. I love using this tool because it just makes it so easy to visualize, you know, fairly basic concepts in the market, right? Look at that. Look at that. That looks so plausible. You know, so obviously that's the kind of thing that we could be looking at playing out if this does end up being a deviation, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. Like I said, I think that's much more likely now because it seems like everybody's really, you know, jumping on the bandwagon of being bearish on Bitcoin. But at the same time, like I said, if this gets a little bit too extreme and we see people, you know, really getting very fearful that the market might be ready to drop again, you know, that could still incite a little bit of fear. And I think that's an important thing to consider because the next key area of support that I'm seeing for Bitcoin is actually going to be down in this range right here. Take a look at this. This is actually the plan that I had for my trade. I didn't actually get this good of an entry level, but look at the risk to reward here. Such a beautiful the risk to reward of 7.5. If you've got a traditional background in finance, you're going to know that this is a bloody amazing trade setup. And if you don't really value things like risk to reward ratios, then I would encourage you to consider learning about them a little bit more because you know, the good thing about having high risk to reward ratio trades is that you can have a low hit rate, right? Like if you have a high risk to reward ratio in every trade that you take, but your overall rate of success, your overall, you know, out of 100 trades, you don't actually make that many gains. That's okay because your losses are going to be very small and your upside is going to be huge. So just by making sure that you have a high risk to reward ratio in every trade, you insulate yourself from so many problems that other traders experience. If this kind of thing sounds like what you'd be interested in learning more about, then obviously the steps are on screen right here to get inside of my course where I teach you about stuff like this. And I'm actually, I'm going to be I keep saying this, I am going to be re-recording it very soon. That's actually why I've moved everything here. So I've already started re-recording it actually. You know, so you're going to see that updated as well. And every single person that's had access to this in the past still has access to it. And you're going to get the updates for free as well. But once those updates do come out, the price will be going up because more content is going in and you're getting 21-year-old Sammy instead of what, like 18-year-old Sammy. So that in itself is a reason to get the upgrade right there. So I do like this risk to reward setup that we've got in the market with this kind of trade setup. And, you know, the key target that I was looking at would be a little bit down in this range towards the $18,000, $19,000 area. And the reason that I'm interested in this is for the same reason that I was interested in this price level here with this green box, which is that if you take a look at the price interactions between if you take a look at the price history between this green line and this green box right here, the green line is at 22.7, the green box is at 21.5. There is nothing, right? If we look at how the market kind of, we can zoom in even further. I don't know if we'll actually have enough. I don't know if we'll actually load that data up. No, we won't. But anyway, we can take a look at it like this. If we look at how the market interacted with this level, I mean, it's such a constant. That when we drop below this level, we fall all the way down to the next one. When we rise above it, we go all the way up to the next one. On this occasion, we nearly made it, and on this occasion, we nearly made it back up. But then all the way down, a little bit of a fake out here, a little bit of a fake out here, but then look all the way up and all the way down. Very, very consistent, guys. We don't see price action that looks like this. We don't see price action that looks like this. We don't see price action that looks like this happening in this price range. Generally, the only kind of price action that we see happening in this price range is quick zips up and then quick zips down. And that is what makes it very reliable. Look at this. We nearly make it right to the top on this occasion. On this occasion right here, all the way up to the top, to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom, to the top. Look at that. I mean, it's I'm getting coked up just talking about it, legends, because this is the kind of thing that makes it easy for us to trade, right? A lot of people are sat there on their computers like fucking degenerates, looking for things to trade, looking for buttons to click and things to do, and it doesn't work, right? Our job as traders is to identify ranges that are easy, make our lives easy, because guys, let's be fucking honest, you didn't get into this space, you didn't start trying to become a trader to stress yourself the fuck out, right? You didn't get into this space trying to become a trader to give yourself 2 or 3 more full-time jobs stacked on top of what you're already doing, so that you get home and you're already miserable, with your family and stuff like that. And now on top of that, you can't even take a piss without looking at the price of Bitcoin, right? That's not why we're here. We're here to de-stress ourselves, to shortcut our way to making money. And I think a lot of people forget about that because they get lost in this gambler's mentality where they just feel like the more they do, the more money they make. But that's not how this works in the markets. And I've actually got a video where I touched on this for a 1-hour long podcast, which you're going to see uploaded to this YouTube channel very soon. That was actually done with the guys behind Prime XBT, which is another great exchange that I love using because they allow you to trade indices like the S&P 500, commodities like gold, silver, and oil, and Forex as well. I actually did it with this guy right here. This is a lovely bald-headed German guy, and I shit you not, this is the best conversation I've had as a trader in a very long time, and I had it with this guy, and it was just yesterday, so I'm really excited for it. It's a really big deal for me making this video with him. I didn't know much about the guy when I actually made that podcast with him, but we both hit it off really well. And I don't know about you guys, I just like listening to people with a German accent, so that in itself was entertaining for me. And the thing is I talk to a lot of people about trading, and for me to say that this is the best conversation I've had in a long time, I feel like I wouldn't say that lightly. So I'm very excited for you to go ahead and check that out, and just stay tuned to this channel. Just stay subscribed. I'll upload it within the next few days, and you can check that out, because it does touch on some of the similar topics. But like I said, I mean, this continues, right? I mean, look at this. It's just so poetic. We break above this green box, we go all the way up and then all the way down. We don't manage to break above this green box. Obviously, we don't get all the way up, but it's so consistent. Look at this. I mean, there's so many more examples. All the way up, all the way down. I actually already talked about this one. Again, over here, all the way down. Yes, there is a fake out here, a small fake out here as well. But, broadly speaking, all the way down, then all the way up. And so on, right? Very, very consistent price action. So of course we're expecting the same thing in this range. And if you've been paying attention to this YouTube channel for some reasonable amount of time, you're already going to know that I'm going to say the same thing about this gap as well. And this is actually the very juicy gap. This is where things get very interesting and fun as a trader, because we've got the exact same situation, right? If you take a look at the price levels between this box here and this box here, there's only one key stop, right? It's like this is a train, and there's only really one place that the price stops, between this price level here and this price level here, and that key area that the price level stops at is this green box, right? We don't generally see a whole lot of other interactions other than this green box. You could actually, I think, quite fairly put a box right here. That would also make some sense. I think we could, this is about as thick as it needs to be. You could certainly say that this is another area that Bitcoin might be able to enjoy as support. But, and this is a big but, this box, and the reason I haven't drawn it, this box with all of these key interactions is so close to this box. And this is a much more important box in my opinion. And generally, in my experience, when we've got boxes that are somewhat important, close to boxes that are extremely important, we're going to go to the extremely important one. It's almost like a magnet effect where the liquidity just wants to come down here. It might even want to come a touch lower. And that is why I've got this green line here. Actually, if you watch that podcast that I'm about to upload in the next few days, you will understand why this green line is here, because this is what I was talking about in terms of a potential liquidity grab, which again, you'll understand why that was there. I'm just going to delete that for now. But these are the kind of things that would make sense to me. I'm actually going to go ahead and remove this one because I don't actually think that this one's super likely to play out. The main one that I'm going to be looking at is kind of dropping down into this range or this range right here. And I think it's also worth, I've already done this a couple times, but it's also worth taking a look at this with Fibonacci retracement. So if we draw this from our, basically when this started to go crazy up to our top, we do have a beautiful 618 retracement lining up very nicely within this range, 618 and 66 right in this circle. And if we, oh, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. I did not even notice that. 382 and 33 level, perfectly falling in line with my box. That is very impressive. I don't know how I didn't notice that before. It's probably because I've never drawn the fib on this particular chart. I've only drawn it on charts where I don't have drawings already, but that is really interesting because we've got a huge level of confluence there, right? If you remember what I was talking about towards the beginning of this video, I was going on about how I think we're in a situation where, you know, given that the fact that we've got the 200-day EMA, the daily EMA ribbon, the horizontal box, there's a lot of confluence here, guys. This is another huge area of confluence with the 3.3 and 3.82 support levels. You know, one of the key things here is I think if we do start to see sentiment very quickly shift, again, you know, two things can happen basically, up or down, right? You know, the market could very quickly crash, but also that, you know, we could be looking at, you know, just retail just flipping completely on the other side and getting screwed that way. Again, I don't think that's going to happen because we're too close to that price level at the moment, and we still have an overwhelmingly bullish market, right? So I don't necessarily think that we're going to be looking at that kind of reversal happening just yet. But you know, if we do, and if that's what you're expecting, then this is a really good area to start looking at building up positions in Bitcoin again, or even just taking profits on existing short positions. And those of you that are in VIP, you've also seen exactly where my take profit targets are or will be. I've told you all about that, and I'm going to continue to update you on that in real time as well, so you're also going to know, just spoiling it a little bit, that is one of the ranges that I already plan to take profits in, which is absolutely phenomenal. Very, very happy indeed to see these levels of confluence, you know, kind of lining up, these signs of confluence lining up. If we look at this with the fib retracement right from our market low, then we still have the 3.3 level right in this important range, the 382 level at the bottom of this consolidation range. So still definitely important. I think it's very fair to say that support anywhere down to 21,000 or 20,900 would make a lot of sense. And the 61866 levels lining up again very well with the bottom of this support range that I had drawn for Bitcoin. So bottom line, I am expecting that we're going to stay in an uptrend. I think that if we get down here, you know, broadly speaking, people aren't going to be that bearish and we could recover, and then we're just going to be super excited, right? If we do something like that, what we're getting is essentially a shallow correction compared to what we had previously. So I think that's really going to lead to a lot of excitement. It could give us enough excitement to break past our resistance levels, because ultimately, guys, you know, the functions of the market are this, is that people want to buy and people don't want to sell, and that's how the price goes up, right? So I think a big part of that is people will not want to sell if the market shows us that we don't need to correct very hard, you know, but at the same time, you know, it would be much more sustainable if we get our deeper corrections like our 618 Fibonacci retracements. And again, to see that it lines up with levels like this would be very interesting. And I think that, like I said, if we get down here, people wouldn't necessarily think that the market's just going to set new lows, although it might be a little bit scary. But if we get down here, you know, to actually, you know, I don't just want to talk about this, you know, in some detached way. Let's actually, you know, show you what this would look like. It would not be comfortable at all. You know, we would be looking at a market that does something a little bit like this, and this would not be comfortable for most people. Most people would not be able to stomach a, you know, $18,800 Bitcoin, where, you know, basically for the last, what is this, like for the last month, guys, it's been actually a very long time. For the last month, we've been sitting quite nicely above $20,000, $21,000. You know, I think that's going to be a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, to look at a much lower price of Bitcoin. And if you still believe that we would be in an uptrend, then actually this would be a really nice cleanse for the market to rise up again. So that's one of the key levels I'm looking at as well. Now, obviously, we could just be continuing the downtrend altogether, and, you know, bears will be quite excited by a situation like this, because this is exactly how we've resumed our downtrend so many times. This is like the most classic way Bitcoin has resumed the downtrend, even going back to like chart price action in 2018. I don't know how many of you guys will actually remember situations like this in 2018. I'm not going to go back and find it because it's going to take me a long time, but we were actually painting price action like this back in 2018. Back in 2019, we did stuff like this as well. You know, this is a very key characteristic of Bitcoin, you know, and again, the reason that I don't necessarily think that it's going to follow through and continue the downtrend is because we've already had a lot of shit in this market. Now, granted, we have things that are really working against Bitcoin right now. We have the dollar absolutely shooting up. The dollar has even retraced down. Now, if you're, you know, scared of the dollar, this is where you get really scared, because not only did we see, you know, the dollar gapping down, but then massively rallying up, which is a very key sign that it's produced a reversal. But at the same time, it went right up to the top, and it's had a retracement now, which potentially means it's done enough to recharge, recover, and then continue to move up. Now, obviously, we could end up doing something a little bit like this, where it stays boring for a little while and then moves up, or of course moves down, I don't know, but more likely to move up given that this looks like a reversal in my opinion. That could turn out to be a problem for the dollar. If you disagree with me and you think that actually this is another classic blip up before the dollar continues to drop, which is entirely possible also, then actually this is going to be quite exciting for you. This means that the dollar, where previously it was fairly aggressively trending down, has now reset in the very same way. This is the dollar's correction. You know, this whole leg up here is the correction. This is the real price action for the dollar index right here. And now that we've had a correction, we are ready to resume our trend and paint something a little bit similar. So again, if you're bearish on the dollar, that's what actually makes a little bit more sense. I don't know where I sit here personally. It's hard for me to make my opinion on that. I want to say that this is what we're looking at. I think a lot of that is going to depend on other macroeconomic factors like interest rates and so on. And if we do take a look at the S&P 500, we predictably, as expected on this YouTube channel, did manage to find resistance between 41.20 to 41.70. That's exactly where the market has started to struggle here. That's exactly where this index has started to struggle. And we've now seen a little bit of a drawdown for the S&P 500 as well. And the same thing for Bitcoin applies here, where we are now in one of those price ranges where we don't typically hang around for long. You know, if we enter this price range, if we break out of this and fall down, we're generally going to expect to come back down to price levels like this, which might actually be really good for the S&P 500, right? In both cases here, whether it's Bitcoin or the S&P 500, we are looking at very nice, clean opportunities for these markets to show us that they are forming healthy pullbacks within wider uptrends. So if you're a bull, this stuff shouldn't be scary to you. This should actually scream opportunity to you, because this is where the money is made. You know, we are actually... I want you guys to start seeing the markets this way. We're actually almost blessed, dare I say, that the markets give us opportunities like this, where it's not just a straight staircase line to heaven, but actually the markets actively give us levels to re-enter the market within confirmed uptrends. And to me, that's a blessing. You know, I'm really, really grateful that we have that, because it makes my life as a trader a lot easier. You know, a lot of people get scared when this kind of thing happens, but obviously, it just means that you're not, red-pilled enough on the markets yet, and that's totally fine. That's why you're here, and that's why you're looking to learn on YouTube channels like this. So obviously, that's what I'm aiming to bring to you guys. So very, very exciting setups in the market, guys. Huge opportunities playing out right now, and huge rewards up for grabs as well. Like I said with OKX, guys, you do have up to 10K just for registering an account with OKX using my link in the description. And when you deposit another $50, or when you deposit your first $50, you're going to be getting another $10,000 just for that, with a mystery box worth up to 10K just for that, which is a huge, huge reward. This is a great place to be trading on. Like I said, many of you guys that are trading short positions right now, slaying in these markets, you are doing it on OKX, which is absolutely amazing. I love to see that. Obviously, when an exchange comes to me and they want to work with me, it means that they're supporting the channel, and you guys going ahead and making your deposits and trading on there and enjoying a good platform which is safe, that stood the test of time, is good for you and helps out this channel as well. Of course, if you don't have the time or don't care, that's completely fine. I obviously understand that. And again, that Prime XBT podcast that I did with Dirk, one of the most interesting people I've ever come across in the crypto space, is going to be coming up very soon as well. So just double check that you are subscribed to this YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss it. You got the bell icon checks and all that good stuff as well. And of course, if you want to jump inside my VIP group, where I've been telling you everything I've been trading, why I'm trading it, where I'm going to be entering, taking profits, putting a stop loss, and how I'm going to be adjusting those strategies on the fly as well, all with real-time updates. Bam, the steps are on screen right here as well. Click on this link in the description down below to join my free Telegram channel. Then click on my name at the bottom of any post inside of 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐴𝐶. That will take you to this page where you can message me. It's actually super simple. It takes you less than 30 seconds. No downloads, no signups. Super, super easy. And if you're not interested in that, but you still want more free content from me, then good news for you is when you do follow that link in the description, this free Telegram channel is where I give you even more updates on the markets 24/7 around the clock. And that is from myself and my team. So there you go. Again, guys, sorry for the lagging camera. I don't know why this is happening. I'm just gonna try restarting my laptop or something and see if it fixes it. This hasn't actually, since I've upgraded my setup, this hasn't happened once, but it's the first time it's happening now. So anyway, I'll try and work that out. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Very good video here. You know, the market is doing something healthy. I'm not worried about it. You know, we saw signs that this was coming, given that, you know, the long and short ratio was a little bit too skewed towards the bullish side here, you know, potentially indicating that traders are just becoming a little bit too hopeful within, you know, what is still a bear market. I want to remind you guys. And of course, things like the fear and greed index. None of this taking us by surprise. We've been talking about this a lot over the last few days. So this is just one of your classic manifestations of almost, dare I say, the inevitable, you know, happening right in front of our eyes. And that is a beautiful function of these markets. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do. If you have, hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'm out. Cheers.